Good day, YouTube. And welcome to another episode of the Albino Rhino Bear Bureau. Today, we are looking at something we look at almost every year. Yesterday, May 25th, not only was it my anniversary, but it was the day of the Canadian Brewing Awards. So we have a list here of the winners, and we always go through it and do a quick little talk. It's never a quick little video because there's 61 categories, but hey, let's quickly look at this, right? So unfortunately, I'm not going to be looking at the camera all the time because I do have to look at this, and I'm blind, so I got to get close. Anyway, European style lager, so a Pilsner. Here's the thing with this, right? So there are some companies that stop going in it after a while because they've been in it a lot and they won it a lot, or they just don't care, or they put their beer in a different style than what they claim their beer to be. And a lot of times beers will win in a style they probably shouldn't win in. They don't have the points. Because when you're judging a beer by style, you actually have a definitive list of the SRMs it has to fall into, the ABVs it has to fall into, the flavor profile it has to fall into, the mouthfeel it has to fall into. And some of these beers will not fall into those categories properly. So the fact that they win tells me that the judges in that category either knew it or the beers in that category sucked. I've seen a best in and best in show was always the beer that scored the highest mark, period. And I saw a best in show beer once, which won in a category it shouldn't have even been in. It was a lager that won the cream ale category. And it won the cream ale category, even though it was hopped to shit, with the highest marks in the entire award. So it won best in show. Again, it boggles my mind. I didn't sit on that one. I don't normally sit on the Canadian Beer Awards. I haven't sat on a Beer Awards as a judge in a very long time. But I digress. Okay, so first we have European style lager, which would be your Pilsners. In first place, gold medal in Ontario from Paniza Brewing, who is a brewing company I've never even heard of, was Jupiter. Silver went to Nova Scotia's Tatamagouche Brewing Company for their Arvo. Arvo was actually a really good beer. It really is a good beer. Tatamagouche does a lot of really good beers. And Tatamagouche will ship across Canada. So if you want to try a Tatamagouche beer, you should go and see it. I don't remember if it's a 12-pack or a 2-4 you have to order from them. But they usually have between 18 and 26 different beers out at a time. And their shipping across Canada is actually fairly reasonable. Next is Turntable Lager by Trolley 5 Brew Pub in Alberta. Never heard of them either, but it's a brew pub, so it probably makes sense. Next style is European Amber to Dark Lagers. Gold went to Chain Link Vienna Lager from Clifford Brewing Company in Ontario. So if we're going to say European Amber to Dark, Vienna Lagers would fit. Chain Link is a very good Vienna lager. I will give them that. Silver went to Jack's Black Lager from Gilligan Brewing Company in Ontario. Never heard of Gilligan's. Never heard of them. Bronze went to Dark Horse from Farm Country Brewing in British Columbia. Another brewery I've never heard of. Again, this is going to happen. There's going to be a lot of breweries I haven't heard of. I've been out of the industry long enough now that there's going to be a lot of new things. Next, we have Bock or traditional German style. Okay, gold went to Niagara from Orange Sun Brewing Company, and Orange is Oranje. I don't know if they're in Niagara. I don't know where they are. But Niagara was the name of their beer. They're from Ontario. Next went to Doppelboxer from Old Dog Brewing Company. I've heard of Old Dog, never had anything from them. Bronze went to Graveyard of the Pacific, Suki Oceanside Brewery in BC. Never had anything by them, but I do know who they are. Okay, next we have Keller Beers. Keller Beers and Zwickel Beers together in one thing. Gold medal went to Time Lapse Helles Lager from Fernie Brewing Company. See, and here's a Helles wouldn't be a Zwickel or a Keller. A Helles should be filtered. A Helles should be, and I've had that Helles law. That is very filtered. That is not a Zwickel or a Keller. How the fuck did it win that category? How did it win that category? The second it's given to you in the glass, it shouldn't be able to be winning that category because it's not hitting the parameters of that category. Next, from Wishbone Brewing in Ontario is Roadhouse. Wow, Ontario's had a lot of breweries closed, but holy shit, the amount of breweries that must have opened in the last little while. Then we have Hazy Blonde from Old Flame Brewing Company. Okay, well, it's at least hazy, so that at least puts it somewhat in the category. I'm still pissed off about seeing Helles win the category in total. German Kolsch style. In gold is La Pils, or the Pils. So again, if you're going to name your beer the Pils, you should probably put it in the Pilsner category, not in the, well, Kolsch. But that is from Non-Such in Manitoba. I have not had La Pils, but I have had some Non-Such beers. Non-Such is a fairly damn good brewery. Again, if it's called La Pils, why would you not put it in the Pilsner category? Did you know you wouldn't win the Pilsner category and maybe the Kolsch category would have less beers in it? I don't see in the Kolsch category, I do not see Bose Lugtread in here. And Bose Lugtread meddled quite a bit in its time, but if we're looking for, and I don't know if the beer has changed a lot over time, but if you're looking for a quintessential Kolsch, that is a quintessential Kolsch. It hits the marks pretty damn fucking good. Next, silver medal is High Country Kolsch from Mount Begbie Brewing Company in BC. I have never had that one from Mount Begbie, but I have had some Mount Begbie beers. I've liked some, I've hated some. It is what it is. Absent Landlord from Cowbell Brewing Company came in third. See, I wouldn't think of that. I know that they label it as a Kolsch, but it's way too hoppy. I wouldn't even think of that, and I wouldn't have ever thought it would be able to medal in that category. But hey, whatever. Wheat beer, Belgian style wit. Gold went to Jungler Wit from Strange Fellows Brewing in BC. Don't think I've ever had Jungler Wit. But yeah, whatever. Silver from Mascot Brewing Company in Ontario. Great Wit. I've had some stuff from Mascot. Never had that one. Flight Risk Wit from Flight Risk Brewing Company is third. Again, I've never had anything from Flight Risk. Never even heard of Flight Risk. German style gold. Hef went to Brauer Far Inc. I've heard of them. I've never had anything from them, but they were on the. There used to be a company you could order from, and they would ship across Canada. It was like the Tap or something like that is what it was called. And they were on there. I just never ordered from them, but they were on there. So I do know who they are. Never had anything from them. Nova Scotia's Tanner and Company Brewing came in second with wheat. Never had anything from Tanner and Company. I have heard of them through internet searches, but I've never had anything brought to them. In Ontario, Brauwerk Hoffman's Hefeweizen came in third. That was actually a really good hef. Brauwerk Hoffman, not a lot of like overly excitable beers, but very, 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 very good to the style beers. So yeah, I'm okay with that. Baltic Porter, who gives a shit if I'm okay with it, right? Baltic Porter, year 4 Baltic Porter from Medicine Hat Brewing Company in Alberta. Never had anything from Medicine Hat Brewing. Silver went to Two Rivers Baltic Porter from Tatamagouche Brewing Company in Nova Scotia. That is one I've never had from Tatamagouche. But again, Tatamagouche makes some great fucking beers. Salted Black Porter from Fieldhouse Brewing Company in British Columbia. That would probably be really good because Fieldhouse does some great beers. Now we have Belgian double or quadruple. What about triples? Just says Belgian double or quadruple. Okay. Brewing from Daggerad Brewing in British Columbia. I have some Daggerad Brewing beer back behind me. I've just not tried it yet. Not that one though. Nut Nuit d'Automne from Fantin Bourassa in Quebec. Never had that one either. Belgian Quad from Trading Post Brewing in BC. Okay, never had any of those. Belgian style triple. Triple from Muse Brewing in Ontario. I've been told I should try Muse. I've never tried Muse yet, though. Obsolete Brewing in Manitoba came in second with Balloon Race Sportsolette. 70 Acres Brewing Company in Alberta came in third with Triplin Out. Okay, then we have the Abbey Ale / Pale Ale. Well, an Abbey Ale would be an ale made by an abbey. But, okay. Bees, Belgian Blonde with Honey from Dog Mountain Brewing in BC came in first. Facatoon from Microbrasserie Charlevoix came in second. So Charlevoix is actually a whole bunch of different brands under one umbrella. And some of them are really good. Some of them aren't. Marigold, Belgian Gold Ale from Clifford Brewing Company. So that's one I don't know for sure if I've ever had, but Clifford makes some good damn beers. Then we have Belgian Strong Specialty Ale. Belgian Blonde from Tanner & Co. in Nova Scotia. We've already talked about Tanner & Co. Two Pillars Dark Strong from Two Pillars in Alberta. Then we have Rush. Really? That wasn't... Was it a Belgian Strong? I can't remember. It's the Rush beer from Henderson Brewing Company in Toronto. I can't remember if that was a Belgian Strong. I know I didn't like it. I know it pissed off a lot of Rush fans, but I can't remember. French and Belgian style Saison. So this one bothers me because if you're going to say it's a French or Belgian style Saison, it really should be low ABV. I go over this every time I drink a Saison. Saisons usually are not low ABV anymore. They're more Americanized, but whatever. We have in gold House Saison by Low Life Barrel House in Manitoba. Never heard of them. Rustic Saison from Dog Mountain Brewing in BC. Never heard of them. Local Legends Grisette. But a Grisette is... But it's not... It's its own style. It's has its own history. It's... Okay, whatever. Okay, so the Grisette came in third, and who made the Grisette? Couchich King Craft Brewing Company. I've never heard of them either. They're in Ontario. So lots of beers that are being misstyled, I guess. Like if you made a Grisette, and I mean they're similar. They are. It's not like one was the French Saison, one was the Belgian Saison. No, a Grisette was meant for miners, and Saisons were meant for farmhands, and they were both kind of meant for the same thing, but they weren't the exact same thing. But I guess if you don't have anything that it fits into, Belgian style Brett beer. Fuck. They're just making styles now. They're just going to make more and more awards, right? Like we're on number 14 now. Zigzag Wanderer from Nokomis Craft Ales here in Saskatchewan. Never had it. Had some Nokomis beers, pretty good. Wild Years from Merritt Brewing in Ontario. Merritt Brewing does some great stuff. Never had that one. Brux from Muse Brewing in Ontario. Again, never had anything from Muse. German style sour ale. So are we talking like Berliner Weisses? Are we talking Gozas? What are we talking here? German style sour ale. That was probably my wife asking what I'm doing. I'm just recording a video. Tiki Sour from Tire Shack Brewing Company in New Brunswick. Sorry, the Shack Brewing Company. There's a lot of beers out in Canada called Tiki Sour. A lot of them. Peach Gobbler from Turkey Shoot Brewing in Ontario. I've never heard of Turkey Shoot, but I kind of want to have some of their beers now. One, because the name is Turkey Shoot, and I want to have the Peach Gobbler. I want to have the Peach Gobbler. Southwestern from Rough Waters Brewing in Newfoundland and Labrador. Really, I haven't had a lot of stuff from Newfoundland and Labrador. I've had some stuff. I don't think I've had anything from Rough Waters. Blake would have to tell me if he sent me anything from them, but I don't think I have. Then we have Belgian-style sour ale. Minute au Cerise from Muse Brewing came in first. Elton Street, the Establishment Brewing Company in Alberta, came in second. And Rouge de Appalache from Frampton Brosé came in third from Quebec. Never had any of those three. This is how out of the loop I am from my time in the Arctic. Like I've not had half the stuff that's in the awards anymore, and I haven't heard of half these breweries anymore. Porters. I like porters. Okay, first place. Coulier Cafe from Microbrasserie Chelsea and Company. Never had that one, but it's a coffee porter. It's gonna be good. It's from Quebec. Quebec makes good porters. Silver was Broken Record Porter from Publican House Brewing Company. I wonder if that was... I've had a Publican House porter. It wasn't that one. It was very good. I wonder if it's the same thing named something different. And I know you're up way high. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make it so that we can do this. Third, Taddy Tom's Porter from Moon Underwater Brewery in British Columbia. I know Moon Underwater. I don't think I've had anything from them. If I'd had it, it was sent to me by Dan or Steve. I don't remember having anything from them, but I do know that they are one of the hyped breweries out there. Surprised if this is the first time I've seen their name show up with the hype they used to have. We have brown ales. Corsair Dark Mild from Corsair Microbrasserie in Quebec. A dark mild. Okay, first and foremost, a dark mild shouldn't be in the brown ale category. They don't hit the same things at all. But now I want that because I love milds. Dark milds are my favorite. I want that beer. Rise Against the Machine from Hell's Basement Brewing in Alberta. I've had a few beers from Hell's Basement. Don't think I've had that one, but okay. Vintage Brown from Killer Brewing Company in Manitoba comes in third. Irish and Scotch ales. So you made the... Okay, whatever. Andy's Wee Heavy from Common Crown Brewing in Alberta. I've had some Common Crown. I've never had that one. Irish Goodbye from Foghorn Brewing in New Brunswick. I don't think I've ever had anything sent to me by Nick from Foghorn. So I don't think I've had Foghorn, but I've heard of them. Hell Coating Scotch Ale from Fisher Paul Brewing Company in British Columbia. Okay. So we are now on English Style Pale Ale. Gold went to Craft Pale Ale from Parallel 49 in BC. I don't know if I would... I don't know what was in this, but okay. Silver went to Square Nail Pale Ale from Publican House. And third from Longwood in BC. Honey Hop Pale Ale. Okay, seeing the number 1 and number 2 makes me think that might not have been a very strong category because, I mean, Square Nail is a good beer, but I can think of about 15 beers off the top of my head that should beat that out for an English style pale. I've never had the craft pale ale from Parallel 49, but I've had a lot of beers from Parallel 49, and I don't know. English Bitter. Little Britain ESB from Concession Road Brewing in Ontario. Then we have Proper Pub Ale from Bogside Brewing in PEI. And then we have Bristol from Corsair Microbrasserie in Quebec. I've had none of those three. I've had stuff from Concession Road. I've not had their ESB. Again, PEI, not a place I've had a lot of beers from at all. I know Copper Bottom used to ship across Canada. They don't now. Next, we have Sweet Stout or Cream Stout. We have the Jackie from 70 Acre Brew Company in Alberta came in first. Javalanche from Banded Peak Brewing came in second. Isn't Banded Peak the one that's owned by Labatt now? Because if they're owned by Labatt, that's... yeah, okay, whatever. S'more Noir from Noven Boreas in New Brunswick. The reason I bring that up is I know the rules keep changing, but at one point the Canadian Brewing Awards would not let big guys in. Then they let big guys in. Then they didn't. Then they did. So it's one of those things. And if you're owned by the big guys, you don't. Most breweries owned by the big guys in Canada don't end up making the beer to the same quality for very long. I've never had the Javalanche, but all the other Banded Peak beers I've had have been pretty meh at best. They're not usually bad, but they're meh. So it's weird to me to see that. Again, I can think of a lot of sweet or cream stouts out there in this country, even just in this province that... but I've never had Javalanche, so I shouldn't be holding that against it. But I'm just thinking about how many beers there are that could fit that category and are pretty damn fucking good. Oatmeal Stout next. Gold Diggin' Oat Stout from Grimoire Brewing Company in New Brunswick. Oatmeal Stout from Flora Hall in Ontario. Never had that one. Ghost Train Oatmeal Stout from Hell's Basement in Alberta. Again, never had that one. Dry Stouts. Black River Stout from King Craft Brewing in Ontario. Never had it. Sasquatch Stout from Old Yale in BC. Okay, I've had that. That was actually a really damn good beer. Nova Scotia's Old Foundry Stout from Saltbox Brewing Company. Never had that one, but I have heard of it. Imperial Stouts. Gold went to Lloyd's Lullaby from Town Square Brewing in Alberta. I've had a lot of Town Square beers. Very good brewery. Never had that one. Under the Sea from Dildo Brewing and Museum in Dildo, Newfoundland. Yes, Dildo Brewing is also a museum. Under the Sea is a Imperial Stout. I've had one beer from Dildo. Thank you, Blake. I really want to have more beers from Dildo. One, because I want to make fun of the name. But two, because I find it really interesting. Anvil from Steel and Oak Brewing in BC. Never had Anvil. Had some Steel and Oak beers. Very good brewery. English Style IPA. Elephant Run IPA from Fisher Peak Brewing Company in BC. Then we have Maritime IPA from Grimross Brewing Company in New Brunswick. Then we have the big one from Longwood Brewing Company in BC. Haven't had any of those. This is how out of the loop I am now. North American Style Lager. Lincoln Lager from Bench Brewing Company came in first in Ontario, in my neck of the woods. Never had Lincoln Lager. I do not. Oh, wait, I have. Brian sent it to me when I was in Pavernatook, I believe. Shindig from Cowbell Brewing Company. Okay. And Fetch Lager from Trailway Brewing. Again, okay. I've had two of those. I've had some stuff from Trailway. Trailway makes some good stuff, and they do have some restraint, so I could see them do that well. North American Style Premium Lager. Main Street Pilsner from Main Street Brewing in BC came in first. Line 12 from Quails Brewing came in second in Ontario. Quails makes some good stuff. Beach Chair Lager from PEI Brewing Company in Prince Edward Island came in third. Yeah, I can't really say anything good or bad about any of that. North American Style Amber / Dark Lager. Lorne Ipsum from Annex Ale Project in Alberta. Never had anything from Annex. Bunker from Tooth and Nail. Never had Bunker, but I've been to Tooth and Nail. I've had a lot of Tooth and Nail stuff. They're very, very good. If you get a chance to try a Tooth and Nail beer, you really should. Rollover Cerveza Negra from Yellow Dog Brewing in BC. Another one I've never had anything from. Don't even usually hear much about Yellow Dog. Light calorie reduced lager. Gold is Tread Lightly from Muskoka Brewery. Very, If we're looking at a light lager, we're looking at it should still, well, it doesn't say American or anything like that. It just says light lager. So I don't know how they did this style, but normally a light lager would be a light American premium lager. It would be low in flavor, basically. Tread lightly, way too hoppy for me to have given it anything in that. Highliner Brewing from Canmore Brewing Company in Alberta. Sorry, Highline Lager. Dusk to Down First Dance from Dusk to Dawn Brewing Company. Dusk to Dawn First Dance from Dusk to Dawn Brewing Company. Never had anything from Dusk to Dawn. Next, we have Cream Ale. Glacier Cream Ale from Land and Sea Brewing in BC came in first. Cream Ale from Anderson Craft Ales in Ontario. And Mr. Anderson is well known for his time as the brewmaster at Microbrasserie du Petit Saut in New Brunswick. Does some great stuff. And last in this one is Kick Sled Cream Ale from Northwest Territories Brewing in Northwest Territories. I've been trying to get some stuff from Northwest Territories and Iqaluit for a while now. Hi, Harlow. I'm recording a video. I'll be up in a few minutes. North American Style Amber Red. Gold. Temptation Red Ale from Boxing Rock in Nova Scotia. I've had that. Thank you, Lee, for sending that. That was a good beer. BSB Red Ale from BSB Brewing in Alberta. I don't know if I've had anything from BSB. Agi Ale from Olds College Brewery in Alberta. I've had some stuff from Olds College. I don't know if I've had the Aggie. I know Dan had sent me some stuff from them. I would have to ask Dan if that one was sent or look on my Untapped. North American Style Blonde or Golden Ale. Puck Off from Boxing Rock Brewing Company in Nova Scotia. Never had that one, but that's a great name. Tommy's Tipple from the brewery by Quinn's at Nova Scotia. I've had a tipple, but I don't think it was a Tommy's Tipple. Blonde Ale, Slabtown Brewing in Ontario. Never had anything from them. Now we are on to American Style Black Ale, Flirting with Goth from Bookstore Brewing in Manitoba. Never heard of Bookstone Brewing. Black IPA from Pile of Bones here in Regina. Never had that one yet. Eclipse from Copper Bottom Brewing in PEI. Again, Copper Bottom used to ship across Canada. They don't anymore. Wish they did because I'd love to buy their stuff. North American Style Pale Ale next. Vice Principal from Schoolhouse Brewing in Nova Scotia. Portside Pale Ale from Land and Sea Brewing in BC. And then bronze is West Coast Pale Ale from Brewers Blackbird Kitchen and Brewing in Ontario. Never had anything from any of those three. Never even heard of the one in Ontario. Now we have wheat beer, North American style. Jerkface 9000 from Para. Doesn't that advertise itself as an IPA? Doesn't Jerkface advertise itself as an IPA, not a wheat beer? Village Wit from Village Brewing in Alberta. That was a good one. And then a Swedish Gymnast from Twin City Brewing in BC. Never had anything from Twin City. American Style IPA. Gold is IPA from Boxing Rock in Nova Scotia. Silver is Hop Razor from Howie Sound. Howie Sound, actually, my memories of Howie Sound was when it used to have the big bottles. You'd get the pumpkin ale and stuff in it. I remember them for that. Rad IPA from Rad Brewing Company in BC came in bronze. New England Style IPA, Hazy by Poco Brothers Brewing in BC. Never had anything by them, never heard of them. Monkey Hand New England IPA by Muddy York. Muddy York does some good stuff too. I've never had that one, but Muddy York does some good stuff. Vaudou IPA from Microbrasserie Trois Lacs in Quebec. Okay, now we are on to the session IPAs. This is how it is, man. There's more IPA variants than there are like lagers in these things. Gold went to Ultralight from Four Winds. I love Four Winds stuff. I've never had that one. Silver went to Orange Hazy Breakfast IPA from Foamer's Fully Brewing Company in BC. And third went to Featherweight from Four Winds again. So Four Winds put 2 beers into the same category. I wonder if they put 3 beers in and they were trying to just sweep the category. Like, we are the best. 1, 2, and 3, motherfucker. American style Imperial IPA, the Phoenix 4 from Hell's Basement in BC. Hell's Basement took home a lot of fucking hardware at this. Super Luminal from Ale Architect in Alberta. Meltdown Manor Double IPA from the Brewery by Quinn's in Nova Scotia. Then we have American Belge style ale. Didn't we already? Barnyard from Indie Ale House in Ontario. Indie makes some great stuff. Hayloft from Quails. I didn't really think of that really as a Belge style American ale, but it was a good beer. Seven Bells from Bayview Brewing Company. And it says, please select a region, state, or province. I think they're Ontario. Isn't Bayview Ontario? I've had Bayview beers. They're Ontario, aren't they? American style Brett beers are next. Gold went to Fodor Aged Brett Double from Flora Hall in Ontario. I believe Flora Hall is in Ottawa. 2023 Wild Brett Dismulator from Twin City Brewing in BC. They used to make it so that it had to be a beer that was brewed in 2024. So apparently that has changed. Paradise Grove from Low Life Barrel House in Manitoba. American style sour ale. Gold went to Raspberry Sour from Non-Such Brewing Company in Manitoba. Nexus took second from Irrational Brewing Company in Alberta. And Atomic Jam Raspberry Sour from Electric Bicycle took third. Electric Bicycle was another brewery that used to ship across Canada. They do not any longer, which is too bad. Honey Maple Alternative Sugar Lager or Ale. So they've made this one into a big, broad thing. So I can't even talk about why is that in there. Cavalry Soldier Jobsolete from Obsolete Brewing Company in Manitoba. Whistler Bear Paw Honey Lager from Whistler Brewing Company. See, there are so many good maple beers in Canada. There's so many good other beers that would fit this category. I'm surprised that came in second. Headleyville from La Souche Microbrasserie in Quebec came in third. And I'm not saying that the Bear Paw is a bad beer. It's not. I'm amazed that when you have all those maple beers you could have put in here, I'm amazed that took something. Fruit beer or field beer is next. Neko Labourie from Ippen Beers in Quebec came in first. Sliced and Squeezed by Pile of Bones came in second with, Sliced and Squeezed from here in Regina. I've never had Sliced and Squeezed either. Sunshine City Passion Fruit Wheat Ale from Neighborhood Brewing in BC came in third. Then we have our gluten-free beers. Quick Witted from Grey Fox Brewing in BC came in first. Prolific Pale from Grey Fox Brewing in BC came in second. And Humble Lager from Grey Fox Brewing in BC came in third for the gluten-free beers. There's not a lot of gluten-free choices in Canada. Glutenberg usually wins that category out. So it's interesting to see somebody other than Glutenberg winning that category out. I kind of want to try them now, especially if they beat out Glutenberg, because Glutenberg is actually not horrendous gluten-free beer. There is a lot of horrendous gluten-free beer out there. They are not horrendous, so the fact that they didn't even take a place in that makes me curious about how these taste. But it also makes me curious if these are true gluten-free or if they're the enzyme gluten-free. Because I know a lot of people who have true celiac disease tell me that if it's the enzyme, they still can't drink the beer. It needs to be 100% gluten-free. It can't have the enzyme pulling the gluten out. Now, whether or not that's a normal thing or if it's just them, I don't know, but that's what I've been told many a time. Next, we have Session Ale. Dark Mild from Deadfall Brewing in BC came in first. I would love to try that. As soon as you say a Dark Mild, I want it. Daydrift from Ale Architect in Alberta came in second. And Summer Somewhere from Annex Ale Project in Alberta came in third. Then we have experimental beers. Assaray from Hippo Beers in Quebec came in first. Johinu from Hippo Beers in Quebec came in second. And Happy Place from Merit Brewing came in third. Happy Place is actually an interesting beer. Urban Spice Beers, Lost in the Zone, Part 1, Imperial City Brewhouse in Ontario. Okay. Ginger Mandarin Sour from Farmhouse Brewing Company Limited in BC. Good Morning from 88 Brewing Company in Alberta. I've had an 88 Brewing Company beer now. It was good. It wasn't anything special, but I can now say I've had an 88 Brewing Company beer. Smoked Beer Anniversary Ale from Cold Bear Brewing in Ontario. Never heard of them. Ablaze by Valley Brewing in Alberta. Had heard of them. Smoking Fire Smoked Red Ale from Darkwoods Brewing in Alberta. Never heard of them. Barley Wine. Batch 300 Estate Barley Wine from Barnside Brewing in BC. Old Fog Burner from Garrison in Nova Scotia. I've had several Old Fog Burners. Very good barley wine. I will not ever deny that. Old Imperious from Tooth and Nail Brewing in Ontario. I think I had a barrel variant of Old Imperious when I was with Guy at Tooth and Nail. Wood and Barrel Age Beers. Nay Nay number 4 from Low Life Barrel House in Manitoba came in first. Stout Imperial Bourbon Noir de Macedon et Vanilla from Bière Shelton in Quebec. I've had some stuff from Shelton. They make some pretty good beers. Black Forest Cake from Paris Brewing and Malting in Paris, Ontario. Never had anything from Paris Brewing. I should actually get my great uncle to send me some stuff from Paris Brewing. He's right down the street from them. Wood and Barrel Aged Strong Beer. You mean the Imperial Stout wasn't a strong beer? It was, okay. Mammoth from Sons of Kent in Ontario. Double Barrel Scotch Ale from Sons of Kent in Ontario. And Skull Crusher from the Merchant Ale House in St. Catharines, Ontario. My old stomping ground. I would go there for their hockey beer, their blueberry beer. At one point, they would put actual blueberries in their blueberry beer until a drunk choked on one. That's when that stopped happening. I heard they started doing it again. They also make an amazing barrel-aged, cold-brewed latte beer. They ended up getting a brewer that knew what he was doing, and it really changed the world for them. Before their beer was beer, then it became good beer. Wood and Barrel Aged Sour Beer Gold. Bière de Coupage from Fieldhouse Brewing in BC. Bloom Culture number 3 from Cold Garden Brewing in Alberta. And Bloom Culture number 2 from Cold Garden Brewing in Alberta. Flavored Stout or Porter. Black Forest Stout from Mountain View Brewing in BC came in first. The Fire Pine from Brasserie Passenger Brewing in Quebec. And then Jocolot from KPU Brewing, Kwarthan Polytechnic University in BC. Interesting. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. We're at 56. No to low alcohol beer is next. Zero People Skills from Tool Shed. I've had some Tool Shed beers. Thank you, Dan, for those. Came in first. Non-alcoholic kettle sour from Better Brothers Brewing in Saskatchewan. I've had some Better Brothers beers. I've only had IPAs from them. Not been a big fan, but they are here in Saskatchewan. Libra Pale Ale from Libra Beverages in Libra's in PEI. Who's making Libra? Because I've had Libra beers. I did not know that Libra was in PEI. You can get them on Amazon even, and they're not bad non-alcoholic beers. Low alcohol beer is next. Mild Sedation from Long Bay in New Brunswick. Then Lake of Bays Sun Chaser Extra Light Lime came in second from Lake of Bays Brewing Company in Ontario. Then Lake of Bays Low Tide 90 Calorie IPA from Lake of Bays Brewing Company in Ontario came in third. So we had Long Bay in New Brunswick and then the two Lake of Bays beers. Specialty IPA In Another Castle from Analog Brewing Company. I haven't had anything from Analog yet, but I love the idea of Analog. It's all like 8-bit video game art, and the names play into 8-bit video games. So I really have to start buying some of their stuff just to show you guys the labels. Hot Dogger Cold IPA from Coast Mountain Brewing in BC, and then Pomelo IPA from Bishop's Archers in Quebec. 59 is historic regional beers. Gold went to Range Life from the Establishment Brewing Company in Alberta. Rice Lager from Burdock Brewing in Ontario. Burdock was, I don't know if they still are, but they were a brew house for a small craft brewery in Toronto. Steam Beer from Souk Brewing Company in BC. New England Style Pale Ale Waves from Kilter Brewing in New Brunswick. Cosmic Celebration from Pile of Bones in Saskatchewan. The Wolf from Sea Change Brewing. I don't care. I really don't. And then we are at the end with 61. Okay, so 61 is Canadian evergreen beer, because they made a style for things using pine and evergreen and all that. So TMS Small Spruce Tip Brute IPA from Rusted Rake Brewing Company in BC came in first. Surely It's Christmas from Mulzer Brewing in BC. Happy Little Trees from the Troubled Monk in Alberta. Now, our last two categories are Brewery of the Year, which went to Boxing Rock Brewing Company in Nova Scotia. Now, Brewery of the Year is usually dealt with by the amount of medals you've had, and just like in a wrestling tournament or something like that, each medal's weighted a different different point system, and whoever has the most points wins. So I don't know how Boxing Rock got Brewery of the Year, but Boxing Rock is a good brewery. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying I've seen a lot of some of the same names over and over and over again, to the point where they probably should have been Brewery of the Year. But whatevs, unless they've changed the criteria for it. And Best in Show went to Corsair Dark Mild from Corsair Microbrasserie in Quebec. That taking Best in Show makes me want to have it even more. Anyway, guys, yeah, that was a very long video. I'm sorry, these are always long because there's just so many beers. There really is, and it's insane the amount of beers there are. But thank you for watching. Have a wonderful evening, day, whatever it is. Bye.